Hello and welcome everybody to the Season 6 United Trainers Association, also known as UTA, draft breakdown for the Daddy's Dark Types. As you can see, our layout looks a lot better than it did last season, and that is very much thanks to Dinistrio. He was going to be in the season, however, he's taking a break from Pokemon. Hopefully, he'll join us next season. However, he's a good friend of mine, and he helped me make the layout for this. So, thank you very much. If you'd like to check him out, he is in the description. So, this season, originally was wanting to just have like a really fun team, just like chill, and I just want to try some fun things. I did keep some of those elements. However, I also realized that I should try to win while having fun. Now, of course, I did that last season. I love sand. It's one of my favorite cores and draft things. But I wanted to have a little bit more fun with the more niche side of drafting, specifically Trick Room. So I tried to make sure that I can do normal and Trick Room at the same time. So, to start things off, we have Rillaboom. So, Rillaboom, to start off with, knowing his nickname is Gorilla Grodd. And this will give you a little bit of insight of the naming convention for this season. The naming convention is villains, whether it's from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Korra, even, like from all across the world. Villains of all kinds of types. So hopefully you'll be able to recognize from which one all of them are at. And at the end of each little nitpick, I'll tell you, if you don't know who the villain is, I'll tell you a little bit about it. But without further ado, Rillaboom, along with my next pick, were my first two choices. I actually slept a little bit through for the first draft, so I actually just got two picks for my first round because I missed the first round. But I was still able to really lucky get both Rillaboom and the next mon. So, of course, Rillaboom is our terrain setter with Grassy Surge. It's going to be really good, pairing with Grassy Glide, one of the new moves in this Gen 8, being a stab priority in a boosted terrain. It's really, really good, along with some pivot material of U-turn and other things. He's a really strong pick, and especially helps with other mons. Really strong attack stack of 125 and a good even stat of 85 for speed, meaning to where he's really comfortably scarfable, and I don't really have to I don't really have to overextend his builds for it. He has really good coverage and stuff like that. The one thing I don't like about Rillaboom personally is that he doesn't have rock coverage. It's one thing that I think that really sets him back personally. However, I don't think it's going to be a problem with this team. Just for the fact that I have plenty of answers for things that die to rock types in general. So I don't think I'll be having a really big problem. Also, Rillaboom is definitely key to a lot of particular mons, and one but definitely in particular, to really help it become even more powerful. So next up we have Slowbro. So Slowbro's name is Lelouch. I forgot to say for the for Rillaboom, Gorilla Grodd is the Super Brain Gorilla from DC Comics. He is the gorilla who, during like the Planet of the like the invasion of the apes and stuff, he was the leader, and he was the outlaw in the Gorilla City thing. For those of you who know, you know. If you don't know, then too bad. So next we have Lelouch the Slowbro with Regenerator. Regenerator being such a broken ability. It's just so fucking good. Also with being able to set up Trick Room and Teleport. Slowbro is probably just going to come to every match, realistically. Obviously some it won't, but like it's definitely meant to be a core mon for a reason. With really good stats overall, and it's surprisingly like 100 base special attack ain't nothing to scoff at. It can throw out those future sights and really throw you off for a spin. But Slowbro in general is just a really good Pokemon. With access to moves that really just annoy people, like Future Sight and Scald, and coverage like Flamethrower and Ice Beam. It's ridiculous. And pivot potential of Teleport. It's got Slack Off, so it can even heal itself. And annoy people with Thunder Wave and Toxic. It's just an annoying mon, and it works great for this team. It is also one of the best counters for our next mon, but I won't forget like Rillaboom. So Lelouch is from an anime named Code Geass. Lelouch is technically the protagonist, but is also the villain. So in this, in the anime, long story short, Lelouch is the character that the audience follows. However, he is considered the villain in the grand scheme of things. It's about revolutionaries and stuff like that, so it's a long list. But Lelouch is a very deviant character, and very he's a manipulator, specifically like straight up psychic manipulator. So that's why it pairs with Slowbro. Also because apparently there aren't any really lazy villains out there that could really go well with this. So Lelouch seemed better overall. Alright, so next up, as I was saying before, we have Hawlucha. Hawlucha, the premier terrain sweeper with Unburden. Also has Mold Breaker. If I need to hit things with like Earthquake that is levitating, that's going to be a pain in the ass. Or just, in general, a lot of other things. So, of course, Hawlucha is known for its speed stat plus Unburden. It is very hard to match its speed. Outspeeding most, like, weather teams even, which there is a water team in the other division and to be careful about, so that's going to be good to know. With Sword Stance as well, it's really good. It also can do bulk up and stuff like that, so where if I want more like a bulk up, like sub bulk up set instead of just Sword Stance, I can go for that. He's got multiple different like a unique like utility moves like Taunt, and he can even heal itself with Roosts. And everyone knows because of Gen 8, all the roosters are gone. He's one of the ones that still have it. Obviously, this is not Dex, so that doesn't really count. But any sweeper with self-recovery is very useful because it means that you can be a little bit more aggressive and have like a backfall to go for it. So his name is El Macho the Hawlucha. I actually named this from the El Macho from Despicable Me 2, the villain of like the Mexican restaurant from the mall. Like I don't know, I just saw like Hawlucha and I was just like El Macho. For villain wise, at least, like it also he looks like the rest. Obviously, he's based off like the wrestler, but I just it worked out perfect. Just it worked out great. All right, so for the next spot on our list, we have our old buddy Melmetal. Now, for those of you who know me for a while, Melmetal is probably in my top 3 favorite mons to draft, right next to Excadrill, right next to Garchomp. It is one of my favorite mons to draft. Just because it's just, you know what it's gonna do, and it's gonna do it really well. So I named it Megatron. Obviously, this is Megatron from Transformers, the leader of the Decepticons, because obviously he's a robot that just, it makes sense. But the biggest thing about Melmetal, like specifically, is just that how much it makes teams have to prep for it. Banded Double Iron Bash will ruin any team that doesn't have a decent bulky water type or any mon that can take more than one hit from this thing. And under Trick Room, whoo, boy, you bet this boy is gonna destroy your ass. Extremely powerful, really hard to deal with, and just overall, you have to be careful. Like there's no beating around the bush. You have to be careful. The best thing about Melmetal as well is that it doesn't only have to run Bandit. It can also run Assault Vest. It can also run Acid Armor Body Press. And it also can run a certain other set that I'm not going to mention because my week 1 people might run into it. We'll see. Watch out, Burger. But either way, going on. Our next mon is Wheezing Galar. Now, funny enough, Wheezing Galar gets a little hate from some people. I don't know why it gets so much hate. Like, it's a really fun and good mon. It's a poison type with Levitate, which is very strong already, meaning that its normal a weakness would only be Psychic types, which is strong already. And then Fairy type as well is a really strong type to pair with the poison type, making it 4 times resistant to fighting type moves, which is super strong to help out like Melmetal and our next couple mons as well. Super good switch in, really bulky overall. It also it's one of the very few Pokemon where every single ability is viable. It's got Levitate, which I just said was super strong. Neutralizing Gas, which really comes in handy. One of the new abilities this season with how it just like goes to destroying certain mons. There's certain mons that rely on their ability so hard, and you can just kind of shut them down with neutralizing gas, and you don't really lose anything for it. You gain one more weakness in ground, but you can play around that easily, especially with grassy terrain. I don't really have to worry about that. And speaking of terrain, I've got Misty Surge. Misty Surge gives me a second terrain, which means that if I don't want to bring Rillaboom, but I still want to bring Hawlucha, I still have a way to proc on Burden with the Seed. And that's not even including, like, with White Herb from Hawlucha or, like, something else. But it just gives me more options. And plus, Misty Surge, while some people thinks it's counteractive because Weezing wants to, like, Will-O-Wisp or toxic people, Misty Surge really helps for your team in particular. Like, if you're using Weezing more as just kind of like a pivot mom to switch in and out, or to, like, to defog stuff away, it can actually come in really handy for, like, saving status effect spawns for, like, Metal to not get Will-O-Wisp or Hawlucha to not to get Will-O-Wisp. It really comes in handy if you need it. Or, like, if there's a threatening dragon type on the team, Misty Surge. It's not going to be as potent anymore. So, another thing about it as well is that it's got a decently sized move pool. And with 90 attack and 885 special attack, it can go physical or special as your, like, coverage kind of moves. Because it's got a lot of, like, fire coverage, poison, fairy. It's obviously got, like, a couple more. Like, I forget what else it has. Let me check real quick. Yeah, it's also got access to, like, Steel Tip moves and Gyro Ball because of how slow it is. Oh, excuse me. And it also has access to Electric type moves. So having access to both Fire and Electric type moves are really, really strong. Just, like, overall. And it is a T-Spiker as well. So I can set spikes and absorb spikes based off if I want to get rid of Levitate or not for that battle. Just, I really like it. So, going on to the next Pokemon, we have the fatty, it is Oogie Boogie. Now, I forgot to mention for Weezing Galar, I just drew my mind. The Weezing Galar's name is Corilla DeVille, and that is originally from the 101 Dalmatians. So shoutouts to people who remember the old Disney days of 101 Dalmatians. That is Corilla DeVille. So, Licky, Oogie Boogie. You can kind of guess why it's called Oogie Boogie. For those of you who don't know, Oogie Boogie is from Nightmare Before Christmas, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a fun movie. And Oogie Boogie is a fun boss. So, Licky is our premier Wish Passer. It is very bulky. With a 110 base HP stat, it is passing some fat wishes up in here. It is really going to help Pokemon out. And it's tier 4, so it's super cost efficient. Like, getting Licky at tier 4 is just perfect. 95 base stat on both defense and special defense. It can do whatever I really want. I can even throw an Assault Fist on this thing and people will not be able to break it. It's just that good. With being a normal type, this also gives me a Ghost Resist, so that can actually help out for Slowbro, for, like, Ghost type Pokemon as well. And just overall pretty good. Also, with Cloud9, it makes it to where that weather team I was talking about earlier, if I ever do verse in, like, playoffs or something, I can just nullify the rain team special effects. So no Swift Swim for you, no boosted water type moves, nothing like that. And then Own Temple and Oblivious, they're not exactly the best abilities, but Oblivious does make it to where I can't get taunted. So having your Wish Passer not be able to be taunted is really strong, because that means that nothing can stop it unless you kill it, which is not going to happen very often. It also makes me immune to Intimidate. So, even if that was a problem, which it really wasn't. But regardless, the next Pokemon on our list will be Persian Alolan. And Persian Alolan, his name is Scar, for obvious reasons. Scar is dark. Scar is a cat. Scar, it just worked out perfectly. I was looking through the villains and I was like, man, Scar works so perfectly for this. I don't even know. Do I really need to explain who Scar is? Scar is from Lion King. It's the main villain. Killed Mufasa. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, Alolan Persian is another interesting low-tier, like, really good pick, right? It's got plenty of pivot with both Parting Shot and U-Turn, meaning so if they have a Defiant Mon, I can U-Turn. If they have a Rough Skin Mon, I can Parting Shot. And vice versa. It's a really good speed tier in 115, meaning that I can outspeed a lot of things and get taunts off, get foul plays off, get knockoffs off. Really good utility Mon. And when it comes to his abilities, having both Fur Coat and Technician makes it to where I can make it a defensive brute with Fur Coat, doubling its defensive stat, or I can run Technician And since this is a Nut Dex Legacy draft, I get to run Hidden Power. And Nasty Plot Hidden Power with a Alolan Persian can put in some work. Now, and like with its speed set, I don't have to really raise its speed much. It's going to outspeed most things anyway. So just Nasty Plot up, and I got a 90 base move of any move I want except Fairy. So I would say that's pretty strong indeed. And also Rattled is a really interesting tech because it can raise my speed by 1 and make me immune to Intimidates. Or not immune to Intimidate, but I can raise my speed by 1 if I get intimidated or got hit by like Bug, Ghost, or Dark moves. Which this thing's going to want to switch in on Ghost and Dark moves anyway. So, and also on those U-turns that come in. So having just an ability that forces Mons to just raise my speed is also pretty strong. If I want to get even faster for those Mons that are really up there. But yeah, so that would be Scar. Our next Pokemon is the lovable Piloswine, who I named Unalak. So for those of you who've not watched Avatar or Korra, Unalak is named Unalak because he is the villain in the second season, the season that everyone hates because it's not the best season. However, the villain is still pretty good. Unalak is the uncle of Korra, who is a waterbender and an ice bender, and tries to take over the world. And Piloswine looks like he can take over the world. Took over mine, so works out for me. And obviously, Thick Fat is going to be the biggest thing for this thing, with ability-wise, being resistant to both the fire and the ice types. It will be very strong. Perfect pairing with Rillaboom, because Rillaboom, with the weakness to fire and ice, Piloswine can still switch in and take care of them. Same thing for Hawlucha with ice types, Melmetal for fire types. And it just, in general, it really works out fairly well. It's also a Stealth Rocker on my team, which I really needed at this point. And also with Eviolite, Piloswine just takes so many hits. It's ridiculous how strong this boy is. And honestly, it's surprising just how hard it hits. Because you can run Eviolite offensive and just kill mons. It's ridiculous. With both access to Ice Shard and Ice Crash and Earthquake and other things like that, Piloswine is definitely a menace to deal with. And I'm happy to bring it on the team. I've wanted to draft the Piloswine for a while now because it's a really strong mon, but it always goes away just before I grab it. So I'm glad I got it. Another mon that almost got stolen from me, actually, is the Rotom here, the regular Rotom. With Levitate being my electric and ghost type. So I really needed a ghost type to get that fighting type immunity for, since I was starting to build up a fighting type weakness. Because obviously, you know, Melmetal, Licky Licky, Persian, and Piloswine are all weak to fighting types. Now I have the 4 times resistant Weezing, and I have the, I think 4 times resistant Hawlucha, and then Slowbro resistance as well. I wanted to make sure I just had something that I could just switch into where I don't have to worry about anyone taking any damage. And that's Rotom here. Gives me a good electric type as well. Good speed tier of 91, making sure I'm faster than the 90 base speeds and else like that. And pretty good overall. So it's another defogger as well. So far my defoggers are Hawlucha, Weezing, and a Rotom here. So I have some good reliable defoggers in Weezing and Rotom. And also, being access to just Volt Switch around is pretty nice as well. Rotom gives me a lot of things. It gives me some fun tricks with like Trick and stuff like that. Gives me Stab Shadow Balls and stuff like that. Specs Rotom is honestly something to fear. And Scarf Rotom is also something that can just come in and out as it pleases. While it may seem like a weaker, like tier 4, it's one of those moms that like just actually really come in handy. And it's just like a staple when it comes to certain teams. Like, you always see those Rotom forms, and regular Rotom has its place in our hearts. So, I'm sure you guys are asking, why is it named Otto? Well, for those of you who remember the wonderful movie of WALL-E, Otto is the pilot, not the human pilots, but the robot pilot, the steering wheel looking robot. And the one that's like the evil villain in the end because like it was in his programming to make sure that humans don't come back to Earth and etc. etc. And since Rotom like takes over machines and stuff like that, I thought that just works out totally perfectly. Because what if Rotom took over Otto? then Rotom would become evil, and that would be hilarious. Get just like a steering wheel Rotom. I just think that works way too perfectly. So Otto is obviously its name, and now the Pokemon I'm most excited to have on this team. The Pokemon that I said from the beginning when I wanted to draft this team, this is the one Mon that I need to make sure I have on my team. And that is Camerupt. Mega Camerupt. Leader Magma Maxi. So, our boy Mega Camerupt here is a tier 4 Mega. He is the lowest tier of Mega. He is worth a tier 3 overall. Is considered by many to be a really shit mon, and 9 times out of 10 it kind of is. However, it got some really cool shit. So, first of all, it is a bulky motherfucker with only 70 HP to his name, but both over 100 in both defense and special defense. It will take a hit. The only thing that's really going to one-shot this thing is either a sweeper with like some boosts to its name or a water type move. And even then, it can still take some water type moves from a lot of mods. It has Sheer Force, which everyone knows Sheer Force is a great ability. Obviously, we can't compare it. We can't pair it with Life Orb, unfortunately, because it does have the Mega Stone. However, Sheer Force by itself does make both Earth Power and Fire Blast hit like a truck. With a 145 base special attack, you very rarely even need to invest into special attack. So you could just make it really bulky. Or if you want to make it the Trick Room Sweeper that it is, then you can boost its special attack. With a 20 base speed, it's not going to outspeed anything anytime soon. However, that's why Trick Room is the thing. And with Slowbro, Trick Room Teleport into Mega Camerupt is a really safe switch-in. And I just get free turns to do whatever I want. And there is some tech that I can do with obviously Rillaboom and Grassy Surge makes it throw out those ground type moves. I'm gonna do that much damage to Camerupt, and it's just gonna go great. I'm really excited and I'm really happy. Now I bet a couple of you are wondering, is its name actually Leader Magma Maxi? And that is correct. Leader Magma Maxi is obviously the leader of Team Magma from Gen 3 and the remakes in Gen 6. I checked Showdown. The character limit for a Pokemon is exactly 18. Leader Magma Maxi is exactly 18 characters long with the spaces. So yes, I will be, when I bring this, it will have the name Leader Magma Maxi. It sure as fuck will. Oh, alright, so that is that. That is my draft analysis. So, I just want to thank a couple things. I want to thank Denny for making this wonderful, wonderful graphics for me. He even did this little thing at the end where he got like all my team members all together having fun, and I think that was really, really cool. I'd also like to thank the music in the background. That's actually from Exostop Music. He did tell me that I can use his music anytime during my videos, and I will. But of course, I'll still credit him down below if you want to listen to this particular song or just his channel. Daddy Stark types this season is gonna do great. Are we gonna win? Who knows? I'm still gonna try, and it's gonna be fun. That's the main thing. I want to have fun this season. I don't want to leave this season going, welp, I was memeing. Who cares? I want to leave this season going, I don't care what happened. I had fun. And that is how we're going to end things. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you for the Power Rankings video, which will be coming on my channel either tomorrow or possibly the day after that, depending on if Burger tries to ghost me or not. Alright, so thank you all for coming, and I'll see you next time.